Hi there, you're on Gossip Says channel. Enjoy watching, subscribe and like it. It's growing our community. Story 1. I asked for a threesome, but she was much better than me in bed. I'm 24 Fahrenheit B. My boyfriend is 31 and has a lot more experience in bed than me. It's honestly the best sex I've had. He can get me to finish whenever he wants, but I've never been able to get him off with oral. He always says it's him and I'm not doing anything wrong, but he always either has to end up going inside me or finishing himself off. Having a threesome with another girl has been a fantasy of mine for a long time. He always hesitated when I brought it up because he thinks relationships get ruined that way. But I wore him down and got my really hot friend who was also curious to agree to it. We got together last night. I was super into it at first, but I started to feel awful when I realized how much better than me she is in bed. Like full on bucking on top of him, making noises, bouncing. Then she finished him off with her mouth and he just exploded like a fountain. He looked like his eyes were going to roll into the back of his head. He's never been anywhere close to that way when it's just the two of us, and I know it's my fault. Should I tell him how I feel? How do I even approach this? The whole thing was my idea in the first place, and now I feel like I can never live up to expectations now. TLDR, I asked for a threesome, but my friend was much better in bed than I am, and now I don't know what to do. Update: why did I choose to do it with a friend? She and I had already fooled around with each other before my BF and I got together, and he clearly found that to be a huge turn-on when I told him. My boyfriend knows I'm bi and we openly discuss which women we find attractive. We both pretty much agree that she's the hottest girl we know. Maybe it was a bad idea in retrospect, but it felt like the most logical option. I don't think he would have readily agreed to it with anyone else. Did I coerce him? Kind of, I guess. It's not that he wasn't into it, just that he felt like threesomes complicate relationships. Honestly though, when I told him that this specific friend was willing to join us, he started to change his tune. He honestly would have been happy just getting to watch the two of us go at it. Him getting to join in basically sealed the deal. Where was I when she was riding my boyfriend? The threesome was kind of a birthday present to me from the both of them. They paid a lot of attention to me at first and got me off multiple times. The last round was intense enough that I couldn't have handled any more stimulation, so I was content just laying beside him and kissing his neck while enjoying the show. Was it just the excitement of being with two women? Sadly, no, it definitely wasn't. Someone said in a comment that my friend porn fucked him, and that does pretty much sum it up. It was pretty hot to watch. She went to town on him. I'm not surprised he came the way he did. He probably never stood a chance. Can't I just copy what she did? I don't know. I'm not sure I'm wired to fuck the way she can. I don't think I can be that aggressive or animalistic. I do want to try and get better at giving head. It was kind of eye-opening to see what she was capable of and the way he reacted to it. But I don't think I'm ever going to be the girl that can just shove him down and bang his brains out. Did my BF get her off the way he gets me off? Yeah, he did. She definitely didn't regret joining in. Anyway, to the update. I did talk to him tonight. I made him promise to answer all my questions honestly. I asked him what he thought of the threesome. He said that I was right. He loved it, was super happy I talked him into it, and he's open to doing it again. He probably thought this would make me happy. Bungle, my heart sank a little. Then I brought up how hard she made him come and that I'd never seen him react that way with me before. He went quiet for a bit. I reminded him he promised to be honest. He said he loves doing it with me, but sex with her was a lot more intense and she was basically relentless, wouldn't stop until he came. I can't argue with that. I have to admit I give up when I'm giving head. She went at him in a way I never have. He saw I was a bit self-conscious and said right away he's not looking to be with anyone else. He loves me and would never want me to feel otherwise. Then he suggested maybe we need some time alone together and offered to take me on a trip next weekend. He held me super tight on the couch tonight and kept kissing me on the forehead and telling me he loved me. Maybe I'm fucked up, but it kind of made me feel worse to think this was all my idea, and now I made him feel guilty for giving me what I wanted. So yeah, I don't know where to go from here. I can 100% guarantee you he wants to do it again. Pretty sure she does too. Part of me wants to as well. The more I think about what happened, the more turned on I get. Maybe I can try and get her to teach me the next time around. Doubt he would complain. But it's hard to get past the fact that she was easily able to do something for him that I pretty much have never been able to do. Please subscribe, leave comments, rate videos, and click the bell not to miss my videos. Story 2. I found out my 31 plank mass ex-wife 27 Fahrenheit cheated on me while she was pregnant. I 31 plank mass found out my now ex-wife 27 Fahrenheit had been cheating on me last year when she was 6 months pregnant. The affairs happened before and during the pregnancy. She had reasons and excuses and didn't want to get a divorce. She wanted to stay together and do couples therapy. I told her to go ahead and get therapy, but cheating was a deal breaker for me, so we got a divorce. The house was mine before we got married, so she moved back in with her parents, who had enough room to set up a nursery and give my ex the guest room. We agreed to an even 50-50 split of custody. My wife has our daughter Sunday, Wednesday, and the original plan was for her to drop her off at daycare on Wednesday morning, and my nanny picked her up around noon and brought her back to my house, where my daughter would stay with me until Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending on what worked best for everyone. Then my ex said she thought the daycare was misplacing some things she was sending in for her to bring to my house, because a few times our daughter came home short some bottles or without her binky. So ex said she wanted to drop our daughter off at our house directly to make sure all of her things get to me. So she started picking her up from daycare on her breaks and dropping her off here. I work from home Wednesdays and Fridays. Even so, I'm working. When ex began dropping off Nadine at my house, it was normally about 12:30. My daughter's nanny, nice old lady from Barbados, not sure of her age, but I'd say late 50 seconds, 60 seconds, was the one to answer the door for my ex and take my daughter and her things, since I was in my office working. Ex began saying she wanted to speak to me directly when she dropped off. She said she felt like she was unloading a lot on the nanny and didn't want her to forget to tell me anything. I would be lying if I said I didn't still have some resentment and anger towards my ex. I don't want my daughter to see that though, so when I talk to my ex, I try to be as emotionally even as possible. Just talk about the things that pertain to my daughter and no more. At today's drop-off, Nadine had a dirty diaper, so her nanny took her upstairs to change her. My ex asked me how I was doing, and I told her I was fine, thank you, and then began to walk back to my office. She sees herself out. She used to live there. As I was walking away, she says, "You know, I'm getting really sick of your shit." I didn't even get a chance to ask her what shit she was talking about when she just started freaking out, saying I was emotionally manipulating her by being cold and distant, that she shouldn't be punished forever for her mistakes, and how me hating her is the same as me hating my daughter. I let her finish yelling and then told her to leave. I think my best bet is to go no contact with her again and not see her for drop-offs anymore. But I was looking for some other perspectives or opinions on the matter if you might have them. Edit. I got a paternity test once I found out she cheated. My daughter is mine. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who took the time to comment their support, sympathies, and advice. I didn't get a chance to respond to all the comments, but I read and appreciate them all. There were so many great suggestions. Someone suggested a website called Talking Parents, which I believe is going to be a great resource for my ex-wife and I. The thing I need to keep reminding myself is that in 5 or 10 years, the negative and betrayed feelings I have for my ex-wife will most likely fade, but a hostile relationship between the two of us will impact our daughter forever. I was very open and honest with her. I told her that I still had negative feelings towards her as my ex-wife, but as the mother of my child, I would always treat her civilly and respectfully. But we had to have boundaries. I told her that we are going back to the original plan where she drops her off at the daycare Wednesday mornings and my nanny picks her up in the afternoon. We're going to communicate through the website which items should be sent home with her, so the nanny can double check to make sure she has everything. My ex-wife isn't happy. I think she was coming to my house in hopes of reconciliation, but I told her respectfully, but in no uncertain terms, that it was never going to happen. But I would love to evolve our relationship as awesome co-parents to an amazing little girl, and maybe one day, friends. Again, thank you to everyone who took the time to reply to my post. This community has been a wonderful resource for me. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Please subscribe, leave comments, rate videos, and click the bell not to miss my videos. Story 3. I'm afraid that my 26 wants to break up with me M25 because I'm too jealous. Me M25 and my 26 are in a relationship for about 1 year and 3 months. We met at university and are studying basically the same stuff. At some point we started to talk and write more and more, and we both felt like we finally found someone that completely understands the other. We also talked about her past relationships. At this point she was single for 1 year and came out of a very long-term relationship. I asked her whether she met someone after that, and she told me that she had a fling with someone, but it wasn't anything serious and the person was out of her life. So I had the impression that it might have been just some random person that I probably would never have to think about. So after we continued talking and writing for some other weeks, we finally got in a relationship and seemingly everything is amazing. We completely understand each other. We can fool around together and I just feels like we can talk about really everything. Both of us are also quite ambitious and we work a lot and do some voluntary stuff at uni together. To top it all off, the sex is also amazing. So could think that it is like a very solid relationship. If it weren't for my jealousy. I never had a girlfriend before and I always imagined and hoped that I'm the first BF to my first, which of course is completely unrealistic. I knew that I had some partners before me, but I could cope with it because they were either like 10 years ago or the long-term relationship where for a long time nothing sexual was happening anymore. Only thing that was buggering my mind was this fling, but I assumed I should try to handle it. But later on it turned out that this person wasn't just some random dude, but also someone from university, whom I didn't know directly, but I kinda know who he is. Also, some of her friends are also in his bubble. So during our relationship, there were some moments where I met him and it just completely destroyed me emotional. We talked about it and Mike was kinda sorry that I got the wrong impression, but she reaffirmed that that has nothing to do with him anymore. Yet we always had a conflict whenever I met him, but still we always managed to make up basically at the same day. Fast forward to yesterday where we were doing some voluntary work at uni, when this dude showed up and greeted Mike, who seemingly was very happy to see him. They hugged and she was laughing very happily. I was standing beside them but was doing some work and immediately felt all my negative emotions calming up. So I did what I always do in these situations and completely shut off every emotions. I had to leave, and when I returned they were still taking happily with each other. So I left again, and when I returned again after some 10 minutes he was gone. I completely shut down my emotions and was feeling sick, so I kinda ignored Mike whenever she tried to talk to me. This went on until the work was done around evening. I still ignored her and she left without me. She wrote me that she was expecting an apology from me. I answered that I know what I apologize for, but that I also expect an apology, to which she replied she didn't know what for. So today we met to talk about it in person. I told her that it hurt me deeply that in this moment she completely disregarded all of my negative emotions and hurt feelings that she would know I would get in this situation, and still she chose to happily hug this person and talk to him happily laughing while I was besides her and thought that this dude were cut out of her life. She told me that it's ridiculous of me that I expect her not to act like she did and that she doesn't think it's wrong to talk to someone for 10 minutes, At what I replied that it wasn't my point, but then she stood up crying and wanted to leave. I also got up to try to stop her, but I made her just leave even quicker. So now I'm sitting here and I'm afraid that this might have been the final nail in the coffin. I love her so very much and I don't want to lose her, and I also know for sure that she loves me deeply. But today she's meeting with a friend who oftentimes told her to break up with me because of my jealousy, and I'm afraid that she manages to talk her into it. I have to work soon until midnight, so I can't really do anything but wait and maybe try to talk to her again. The problem is that both of us don't think that we are objectively wrong. Of course, ignoring her for some hours is fucked up, and I want to apologize for that, but I also think that it was wrong of her to disregard my feelings in this situation. So what do you guys think? Am I completely wrong? Is Mike right to break up with me because of my jealousy?